All right, what's up, guys? As you can see, this is a 2023 Chevy Bolt EV. I'm going to be doing the CV axle on it. I'm shooting a video with my Meta Ray-Ban, so the video is going to be up and down. I don't know how to change that, so I apologize for that, but I'm going to kind of clip it so it's not too annoying. So we're just going to do part by part. So taking off the tire, lug nuts are a 19 millimeter, so let's go ahead and break those loose. All right, now that's broken loose, let's move to the next step. All right, guys, next step is to jack up the car. If I can get a good video of this, you can see there's a metal flat pad right here that I always like to jack up on. So we'll just get this started here, get the car in the air. And there we go. Hopefully, let's see if I can take this off. And hopefully you can see that pad. Let's jack it up, get it on jack stands, and pull off the tire. Alright guys, so as you can see, I got the jack. I jacked it up on this portion here, put the stand on here, and then, as I was always taught when I was younger, once you put it on the jack, shake it as much as you can. Make sure that car is not going anywhere. You'd rather fall now than when you're under it. So as you can see, car's not moving. Let's move to the next step. All right guys, so I got the wheel off, as you can see, and the CV axle assist here that we're going to be changing. But before I take anything else off, I want to confirm with the new parts and make sure it at least looks reasonably the same. Everything's there, so we're not taking it apart and having the wrong part. Again, once we get it all apart, then we'll double check and make sure everything looks correct again. Just rip it. Alright, so nuts on this side, looks about the same length. It obviously doesn't have whatever this little thing is here, but I don't think that matters. But looks to be fairly correct. So we'll move on to the next step here, which is we need to get all of this disconnected, this bolt out, all of this disconnected and swung off so it slides out. So let's get started with that. Alright guys, next thing is we're going to take off this nut that is connected to the outer part of the CV axle. So slide this off, then we'll take these two nuts off back here. This should slide down. We may have to pop this off here to get a little more space. This should slide down and we should be able to slide it out. So this is a 32 millimeter. So slide that off here with the breaker bar. So let's go this way. There is a special torque sequence for putting this back on. We'll talk about that once we get to it. But let me get this off and then we'll move to the next. Alright, so we're just going to slide this off to give it a little more space, and then we're going to take these two bolts off here. Alright guys, so the next thing is to take off these two bolts connected to the strut. They're 21 millimeters. So I got socket on this side and wrench on this side. If you have an impact, this works a lot better, but it's 6 o'clock in the morning here because it's Vegas and it gets hot. So I'm having to not use my impacts to not wake up the neighbors. So let's get these bolts off. All right, so these are on pretty tight. So again, I don't want to use my impact to wake up my neighbors, so I'm gonna try to do it with a breaker bar, see if I can get it. But it is pretty tight. There we go. That is on there fairly tight. So definitely use the impact if you got it. Save you some strength. I actually wonder if it would have been easier to break this side instead of that side. I've been thinking about it. I'm gonna try that on the bottom bolt instead of trying to break the bolt side, break the nut side. Maybe I was going backwards there. So let me hold it on this side here, and let's see if it's easier to break it on this side. I don't know. Yeah, a whole lot easier that way. So I did it the dumb way first. So obviously just break it on the nut side, not on that one there. Let me take this off and move to the next step. All right, I'm gonna pop this off too because it looks like it goes to right here, and I'm gonna need to swing this out. So just to get a little more space, let's go ahead and just slide this out of its little carriage here. There we go. So give me some space, and then let's get a rubber mallet and kind of knock these bolts out. Alright guys, so I put the nut back on because you do actually need to hit this pretty hard. As you can see, it's kind of pressed in there with some grooves. So put the nut back on so I won't mess up the threads. And you gotta give it a good few taps to pop out there. And then we'll take that nut back off. And I'm not gonna take it all the way off. Let's give it a couple more taps, make sure it's free. And do the same thing again. And just a light tap on that one so you don't mess up the threads. There we go. And wiggles out. So yeah, so I tried to use with the rubber hammer, it wasn't working. So I did have to use a little bit of a heavier hammer, and then again put the bolt on there so you don't mess up the threads. Let me get this bottom bolt out and we'll move to the next step. All right, as you can see, I got the bottom bolt out, and go ahead and wiggle that out if we can here. There we go. And you see as it drops out, we should be able to swing that loose. Sorry about that. That twisted pretty hard there. Hopefully that's not gonna be a problem. Fuck. All right, let's worry about one thing at a time. Let's push the CV axle out. We're just gonna try to get this all the way out without messing up that don't want to do is mess up this here, so I want to keep this kind of not hanging. The last thing I want to do is rip off the brake line. That'd be a nightmare. Should have grabbed a bungee cord or something. Let me see if I can do that. Here, let me get a bungee cord. Alright, so this plate is going to have to come down so you can get access to the back of the transmission there, so you can pull the CV axle out, because you do need to pry it out. So there's these little 7mm bolts, and there's a bunch of them, so got to take them out. Alright guys, as you can see, I had to take off quite a bit of those bolts just to get this down here. And then as we look under, I can now get to right here to try to pop that off. So I'll get a pry bar, see if it'll just slide off. It's gonna leak some fluid, so I'm gonna try to pop it off, pop the new one in pretty quickly. That way I don't lose too much fluid there. But let's see what we can do. Alright guys, this is the biggest pain to get, which is once you get this all out, which is a whole bunch of bolts that I showed you earlier. This here, if I can show you, you need to pry this to get this unseated. So you can see I kind of got it moved already, but it took me a long time to figure out the position. So taking your pry bar on this bolt here, if you get it kind of perfect right there in the center, and with a hammer, if I can kind of get back in position here, and with the hammer, I mean it does take some good force, but I mean that looks easy now that it's sliding out, but I've been doing this for about 20 minutes to try to figure it out, so it actually is quite a bit of a pain in the butt. So see if I can get it all the way out here. Alright, so it's about to pull out. I need to get a drain plug just in case anything, a drain pan, but that's how to do it. It's a pain. Got to get the right position, and you got to just take your time. Alright, now that I got it loose, let's go ahead and just yank it out here. Hopefully it'll just come out. I don't have to pry anymore. But, there we go. And it is out. And that is a pain in the butt. But let's go ahead and position them right next to each other. And that looks perfect. Now, this is a, let me show you here. Where is it? This is the SunTrack Motion. I got this off of, I think it's Car ID or something like that. It's the only place right now as of 2025 that is selling this, so that's in stock besides the dealership. But this is only $133 shipped to the door. So let's go ahead and put this one back in, put everything together, and get this over with. Alright guys, excuse the mess, but I'm just going to put a little bit of all-purpose grease on here to hopefully help it slide right in. This isn't any like specialty grease or anything. Just hoping that it'll just go right in with no problem, and we can get this back together before it gets hot. So here we go. Alright, so just gonna be sliding it right back in as we got it out, hopefully. So let's see, may need a little bit of an angle here. Get it to go on straight here. There we go. It slides right in, and we're in there. All right, so let's go ahead and put it back on the hub here. So we'll take this bolt off. You have to use the new bolt. The old bolt is trash, and there is an actual torque sequence or something that's online that we'll have to do. When we get to that, we'll get to it. Let's put that to the side, and we're gonna go ahead and get us some availability of swing here. So we'll take this off, and I'm gonna try to get this to navigate in the hole there. I don't want to put too much pressure on that brake line. That'll just become a nightmare. I don't know where I would find that at this point. There we go. All right, so that's through. And this was kind of a crazy thing here, that it twisted super hard when I disconnected it. So I don't know, but let's see if we can twist it back. It's gonna be a concern of mine, but I'll kind of see if I can get it going here. Yeah. Alright guys, I got the top bolt in. That was a pain, but I disconnected all of these things here. I disconnected this up top, so no stress on any of the lines. The CV axle's in, so let's go ahead and get everything buttoned up, and then we'll come back and I'll show you what the torque sequence is for this, and then we should be done. Alright guys, so I already did the torque, but on the bolt here, on the internet it shows you tighten it to 111 pounds, then you take it back 45 degrees, and then you tighten it again to 185. So I got that done. Everything's back together. I'm just going to clean everything up, put the bottom pad on, and we're good to go. Again, this is the 2023 Bolt EV. Thanks for checking out the video. Alright guys, I am completely done. As you can see, the car is back on all fours, tires on, everything is good to go. Just wanted to talk really quick about all the tools that I used, just in case you missed it throughout the video. So to start off, 19 millimeter and a breaker bar to take the tire off. Once the tire is off, I use the 32 millimeter to take off the big bolt on the end of the CV axle. Then these are both 21s, along with a 21 inch or 21 millimeter, excuse me, wrench to take off the two bolts that were on the strut. I had a 10 millimeter and a 7 millimeter, along with a 7 millimeter driver to take off all of the small bolts for that undercarriage cover. If you have an impact, use it, because there's like, I didn't count it, but like over 10 bolts to take off that undercarriage. So an impact is well way faster. Different ratchets to connect to the sockets. I needed the mallet for knocking out the two bolts that connect the strut to the brake calipers and all that stuff. Pry bars to pry out the CV axle once it's disconnected off the front. I used a bungee cord to hold up the brake rotor to make sure it didn't fall off and put too much pressure or too much tension on the brake line. Obviously gloves, and this is the old CV axle that we took off. From what I can tell, it feels like this internal part here which is the part that actually connects to the transaxle or to the transmission, it feels like the inside of here, the U-joints inside of here are snapped off. So that's probably what's making that hard clicking noise. But yeah, that's everything that I use. Very, very simple. Oh, this is the original nut. It is not a reusable nut. So your new one will come with one. Make sure you use that. Don't put the old one back on. Other than that, it is a very simple process. Hardest part was prying off the CV axle. But again, thanks for checking out the channel and have a great day.